Hi everyone, welcome to the Moovweb tutorial video on measuring core web vitals with the XDN. In this video, I'll cover what core web vitals are and what they mean for your site, how the XDN can benefit you when measuring your site's performance, setting up metrics tracking on your site, and an overview of metrics reporting in the XDN Developer Console. So what are core web vitals? As of May 2021, Google will begin ranking websites based on a set of performance metrics called Core Web Vitals. This change effectively makes site performance an SEO ranking factor. Websites with good Core Web Vitals may be placed higher in search results, while those with poor vitals may be placed lower. Unlike Lighthouse performance scores, which are based on synthetic tests, Core Web Vital scores are based on measurements from real users of Chrome, as reported in the Chrome User Experience Report. Core Web Vitals can be tracked via Google Search Console and PageSpeed Insights. Optimizing Core Web Vitals using the official tools presents a number of challenges. For one, it could take up to a few days to see how changes to your site affect performance. It may also be difficult to diagnose metrics data based on a specific page or URL. And even after making changes to your site, it's impossible to A/B test the impact of site optimizations on Core Web Vitals. So why use the XDN for Core Web Vitals? Instead of relying solely on Google Search Console, we recommend tracking Core Web Vitals using the XDN so that you can see how changes to your site impact Core Web Vitals in real time. You can correlate Web Vitals to your site's individual pages or URLs, analyzing scores across a number of dimensions such as country, device, and connection type. It's easy to identify which pages are most negatively impacting your search ranking. And when using XDN's edge-based split testing, you can A/B test the impact of performance optimizations on Core Web Vitals within minutes compared to days when using Google Search Console. So let's walk through on how to set up your site to measure Core Web Vitals on the XDN. If you are new to the XDN, you will need to sign up for an account before continuing. We make this simple by allowing you to use your existing Google or GitHub account. Now that we've signed in, we need to create a new site. Since our focus is on performance metrics, let's create a new site to measure Core Web Vitals. Give this new site a name, such as My Demo Site, and click Create My Site. So now that our site is created, we're presented with a few different options for implementing Core Web Vitals tracking on our site. We can use a traditional script tag, or if using a tag manager such as Google Tag Manager, we are provided with a JavaScript snippet that should be fired on each page of the application. If you already have an existing XDN project set up, you can use either npm or yarn to install the XDN RUM package. In this case, you will need to add the code snippet to the application so that it runs once the page first loads. Once you have added the code snippet to your site, you will need to redeploy to start collecting data. It can take up to 10 minutes for Core Web Vitals data to appear. With the site set up to start tracking real user data, let's review some of the metrics recorded by the XDN. Because our demo site we just created will not contain any useful data at this time, I'll switch over to the Core Web Vitals tracked on our live developer documentation site. When we load the site's overview page, we're presented with an entire section dedicated to Core Web Vitals. Starting from the top down, we're presented with a filter option. This lets us filter through different hosts that are being tracked by the XDN RUM script. We can also filter metrics based on a wildcard path or even by browser, country, and more. Below the filters are graphs displaying the different vitals over a 1-month period. Let's go over each of the metrics. LCP is the largest contentful paint. This measures loading performance. For a good user experience, LCP should occur within 2.5 seconds of when the first page starts loading. CLS is the cumulative layout shift. This measures visual stability of items shifting during loading or rendering. Pages should maintain a CLS of less than 0.1 for a good user experience. FID is the first input delay. This measures the time from when a user first interacts with the page to the time when the browser is actually able to begin processing event handlers in response. For example, clicking on a link to navigate to a different page. A good user experience would have a delay of less than 100 milliseconds. And lastly, we have TTFB, which is described as the time to first byte. This is not a parameter that affects Core Web Vitals, but is a helpful metric to assess performance. This measures the duration from when an HTTP request is made to when the browser receives the first byte. Factors affecting this can range from network latency, TLS negotiation, and response from the web server. Cached responses served from the XDN edge result in lower TTFBs and overall good user experience. As we scroll down, we can see the 10 worst pages for a given metric. This is helpful to determine which paths need the most attention for improvement of the user experience. Continuing on, we have a breakdown of all available dimensions. Here you can see how your user experience is performing based on browser, connection type, geographical region, and type of device used such as mobile, tablet, or desktop, plus more. This wraps up our quick overview of measuring Core Web Vitals on the Moovweb XDN. For additional information, please visit our documentation guides at developer.moovweb.com.